you know about Association of Indian Management Schools? It's a 34-year-old networking body of B schools in India, having a membership of about 600 top management institutions. AIMS focuses on professionalization of management education, protects interests of B schools, represents management institutions at national and international forums, financially supports members in academic events, funds research projects on management, disseminates management-related knowledge through its annual Management Education Convention, conferences, seminars, roundtables and workshops, organizes free weekly webinars on knowledge sharing and inspiring young leaders sessions for management faculty and students, supports B schools in admissions through Atma, AIMS test for management admissions. Visit https://atmaims.com for more details. Publishes a biannual AIMS Journal of Management. Visit https://aimsjournal.com for more details. Circulates a quarterly e-newsletter on AIMS activities. Conducts workshops on case writing. Encourages AIMS members to be part of decision-making processes as members of chapter management committees and the executive board. Encourages students' participation in free weekly quiz competitions by providing support to interested institutions. Facilitates networking and interaction among B schools. Why would you like to remain a non-member of AIMS? Pay a very low one-time membership fee and enjoy many lifetime benefits. Visit https://aims.org.in for more details.
Very good afternoon, all of you. I am Professor P Narayana Reddy, Regional Vice President, South, Association of Indian Management Schools, and working as Director General, ICBM School of Business Excellence. I am very, very happy to moderate today's session where the speaker today is very, very illustrious and also eloquent one. I thought it is a privilege to have her with us, and AIMS is also privileged to have her as a guest speaker in this session. It is my responsibility to present the brief profile of our association and also introduce the speaker to you and give some few instructions. The Association of Indian Management Schools is a 34-year-old networking body of business schools in India with a pragmatic vision to uphold the interest of business education and also contribute towards quality improvement in management education on a continuous basis. Having 800 institutional members, the second largest body in the world, comprising some of the top ranking B schools of national and international repute in India, such as IIMs, ISB, Wellinger School of Business, XLRI, SB Jain, to name a few. It is one of the largest B schools association in the world. It is actively involved in policy advocacy, encouraging and financing academic research, organizing conferences, seminars, workshops, faculty development programs, and disseminate information relevant to all the stakeholders in the sphere of management education. AIMS is the official representative of B schools both at national and international level, having reciprocal membership with some of the well-known international networking bodies of B schools. This large academic conglomerate dedicated to the purpose of enhancing the quality of management education and has integrated itself with its member institutional and professional forums and could be able to successfully complete number of programs. And I'm happy that the AIMS for the last 2 years been organized, initiated 2 important events every week. One is sharing knowledge with the stakeholders, and second one is inspiring young leaders by inviting experts from both national and international repute related to management education. Today, I am very, very happy to introduce you the illustrious and also eloquent speaker, Mrs. Karuna Gopal, is an internationally acclaimed thought leader, keynote speaker, and also a futurist. She is the founder president of Foundation for Futuristic Cities, a think tank that has influenced urban transformation in India for over 2 decades. As a plenary speaker, she represented India at the Commonwealth Local Government Conference in 2023 at Rwanda, Africa, BRICS Innovation Forum 2023, Moscow, Russia, and COP21, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Paris, France. Ms. Karuna contributed to the design of the 100 Smart Cities mission of India and has been invited to speak at the launch of the mission by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Our innovation, Sculpt Your City 2009, crowdsourced protocol for co-creation, has shaped the mission guidelines and has been declared a national best practice. In the past, she served as an urban expert for the World Bank, Department for International Development UK, United States Agency for International Development, and Asia Development Bank. She lectures senior IAS officers at India's premier academy, that is Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Mussoorie, World Bank Institute, and Administrative Staff College of India, Hyderabad. She has given more than 100 keynote addresses globally and was invited to address Harvard Asia Business Conference 2020 at Harvard University, USA. She currently serves on the Board of Engineers India Limited under the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Government of India. See, her brief, though it is a very brief profile, her profile goes into tens of pages to read, but for the sake of time, I am able to cut short this particular brief profile in spite of uh, cutting short the brief profile, but still, please, I request the participants, please look at her profile in the LinkedIn also. You can understand how important she is and how strongly she is contributing to the nation building. So, with these few words, I once again welcome her to address the gathering. And before that, few instructions to the participants. Please, if you have any query and also clarifications or observation, please put your observation or query in the chat box. I would like to take it up at the end of this particular session. And with these few words, I welcome Karuna Gopal V to address the gathering. Thank you very much. The topic of this session is very, very important. Viksit Bharath, a developed India 2047, the role of academy. Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you, Professor Reddy Garu, for introducing me. It was a fairly long introduction. Thank you for doing that. It's actually an honor and a pleasure to address academia, and I love teaching. As you know, you met me when actually I was in that profession. Good afternoon to everyone. Today, it's actually a very good day. I've had very good experiences discussing India's growth and development in the morning, and now I have the opportunity to talk to students and faculty members on the same subject. Let me just set the context. As you know that our Honorable Prime Minister is very, very keen on making India a developed nation. So today, if you see the efforts of Honorable Prime Minister, you find India in the 5th position in the world in terms of GDP, gross domestic product. And interestingly, if any one of you read the papers today, you would notice that Japan slipped by 1 point. So it is back, and Germany is still there, but Germany's economy is also fragile. So IMF predicts that India is going to be a developed nation and will get into the 3rd position in the year 2027. Who's predicting this? IMF, International Monetary Fund, is predicting that India will reach 3rd position very soon, like in 2027. But our Honorable Prime Minister is more practical, and he gave his guarantee, saying that at least by 2029, I'll ensure we'll be in the 3rd position. But to draw a parallel, I'll tell you something interesting. Many years ago, during UPA time, the growth was so slow that they thought getting into the 5th position or the 3rd position would mean it will take a very long time. So they gave the target as 2047. So you can see how Prime Minister Modi has accelerated that development. So we are really, really fortunate to be here today talking about it. Now, I'd like to also draw your attention to something very important. When Prime Minister inherited our country, I would say inherited in the sense he won it and he's sitting as the leader there. But understand, India is considered to be a developing nation. Some of us call an emerging nation. And some of us very disdainfully write us off, saying that we are a 3rd world economy. We've seen all that. We've seen and heard about all that. Now, to see the burden to carry this particular economy forward, I'll just give you one example. Whenever a country is moving from a developing economy to a developed economy status, it will move away from infectious diseases and it will move into lifestyle diseases. That's because the country has become rich and then they'll get to eat a lot, They're sitting and working on computers. They're not walking like earlier days. So obviously, America is actually a developed nation. So they have lifestyle diseases. India, infectious diseases. But strangely, my friends, what you have to remember here is India is so complex that we are moving away from developing to a developed nation, but we still have the infectious diseases burden, and we have equal amount of lifestyle diseases like diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular disease. So here, look at our country. What is our country? Do we have mineral resources like Africa? We don't. Do we have resources like geothermal energy that maybe Australia has? No, not really. What are the resources that India has? India's resources are human beings. India's economic assets are people. And then when people fall sick, the country cannot perform. So when Prime Minister actually in 2014, when he got the stewardship of the country, he had a huge burden to take forward. So this is the status. Now, let me take you back a few years. I remember when maybe I was also very young at that time. In 1997, I happened to see the cover story on Time magazine. You know Time, right? It's an international publication. So on Time, the cover story was so depressing when I read it. It says, India, an epic story of wasted promise. India, an epic story of wasted promise. So at that time, I was distraught and quite depressed, but I wanted to know the reason. So when I opened the article, it says that India has not capitalized on its potential because at that point in time, in 1997, countries like Singapore, Japan, Thailand, and Indonesia were growing at double-digit rate. They were moving very fast. They were growing very fast. But India was stuck at a very low rate. So they said, look, India also is in Asia, and India could have grown like them. So a deeper analysis through the light that India did not do two things. What did it miss out on? It missed out on very, very, very important thing at the point in time was urbanization. So people around the world were moving from rural parts to the cities. And all these countries that I mentioned now, Japan, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, all of them capitalized on that. And they actually started building very good cities. But India did not think on those lines. The second thing that those countries did and what we did not do was train the youth. Those countries trained the youth in practically every aspect of manufacturing. So, my friends, here, I'd like to highlight something very important. At that time, India realized that India missed what is called the third industrial revolution. What is the third industrial revolution? This is about electronic goods. It's about gadgets. It's about computers. It's about hardware. We missed the bus. Why did we miss the bus? Because the government at that point in time thought, why should India manufacture anything? Why can't we export from Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia? So the point was, government never focused on manufacturing. They thought it's easier to just, import. So paradoxically, when there was a brilliant wave of third industrial revolution, instead of training our kids and putting them in manufacturing, our country simply relaxed. And then we became a marketplace for the gadgets. So our phones would come from, all these countries that I mentioned. So it was a very sad situation for India. We missed the whole bus of third industrial revolution. After Modi ji took over as a prime minister, today, where are we? We are manufacturing aircrafts. Something that we can't even believe that at one time India could do that. We are manufacturing aircrafts. We are manufacturing aircraft carriers. Now, just to tell you the complexity of manufacturing aircrafts, just to give you an example, in 2010, I was the state guest of Washington State in America. So I was serving on the Chief Minister's Advisory Council here in India, Andhra Pradesh, and we went as a delegation to Washington State, where you have Boeing Corporation. So at that time, Boeing Corporation was constructing the Dreamliner 787. You know, today we are all flying Dreamliner. So at that time, it was building Dreamliner. And when I just checked how the manufacturing happens, is first of all world-class manufacturing. Most important thing is it has something like 3 million components. Can you imagine? 3 million components have to be fitted brilliantly with zero error. You know, so in manufacturing, what do we talk about? We talk about black belt, Sigma, you know, all that zero defect manufacturing. So it's such a complex process, and it baffled me to see that India is actually into manufacturing aircrafts. Not only that, aircraft carriers. Today we are manufacturing submarines. So recently I saw one officer from Navy. She was a woman and sitting next to me. I introduced myself and she said, she gave her designation. And when I said, what exactly are you into? She said, ma'am, I build submarines. Just imagine where we have gone. The second and the most important thing, the conclusive thing about manufacturing that India is doing today, I'd like to say that our minister, IT Minister Ashwin Vaishnaw, he was at Davos last year. He was at World Economic Forum. And he was being interviewed. And the interviewer very sarcastically was looking at him and said, I believe that India is into manufacturing. And how far have you come in your efforts? You know why that sarcasm? Friends, pay attention. You know why that sarcasm? Because economists like Raghuram Rajan historically said that India is incapable of manufacturing. They said that India should stick to services. You know, China is the back office of manufacturing. India should be the back office of services. So categorically, they were saying India should only do this. But when Prime Minister took over the country, he said, no, why not manufacturing? So when the question was put, what did our minister do? He did not give statistics. He did not say industrial parks. He did not say anything. He simply took out the iPhone 15 from his back pocket, showed like this, and said, this is iPhone 15 manufactured in India. That's all he said. So now you can imagine how brilliantly, beautifully our country has progressed from not even 7% of contribution to GDP from manufacturing to almost 25-30%. And today, Atmanirbhar Bharat is what? It is, we are trying to be self-reliant. So we are trying to move away from China's dependence. So some of you would know that India has enormous amount of dependency on China. Not only India, every country has, including United States. But what are we doing? We are trying to decouple economically. And I've written an article that became viral. Can India, economically decouple from China? So the point is that we are making efforts and we are making fantastic efforts. So now today, where we stand, I'll give an example. Those days, they used to say that India is a part of BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, because they were all big countries and they were growing at one particular rate. But sometimes today, the economists say they're compelled to compare India as a part of TIPS. What is TIPS? Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore. Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore. They're small countries, but growing rapidly. So it's like India is elephant and those countries are cheetahs. They're moving fast because they're agile, they're small, they can move fast. But India is big, like an elephant. But the beauty is, it is moving like a cheetah. So that is how brilliantly our country is being navigated. So quickly, I'll also tell you that when Prime Minister became the steward, as I said, of our country, we were at 11th position globally. But today we are at 5th position. So how did he navigate this change? So I'd like to tell you how he thinks, basically, our Honorable Prime Minister. When people ask him about the caste system in India, they say you have this caste, that caste. So Prime Minister says, look, I don't believe in caste system. I know only 4 castes. One is youth, women, poor, and farmers. So he says, that's all I know. So when he says caste, he says it's only the segments I know. Don't go into, they are this, they are that, don't go into the caste hierarchy. So what he wants to know is that what he wants to tell all of us is, please believe there are only 4 segments in this country: youth, women, poor, and farmers. So very brilliantly, he came out with different things that help the country. One is, see what he's done for women. I remember whenever the Prime Minister talks, there isn't one speech of his where he did not mention women. Show me one. I can take a bet today. Every speech of his will have something to do with women, because he knows very clearly that the growth of any economy basically depends squarely on women. I mean, some of us in management studies also, we say the bottom line of a company gets enhanced when there is diversity. So, Prime Minister also knows. So he's done a good deal of work. The first thing he did was, he said many girls are getting killed in infancy and in pregnancy. So when he said Beti Bachao, nobody understood the value of what he's saying. I remember since my father was an IAS officer, we used to basically discuss a lot about the sex ratio and all that. So in India, it's like we had 931 girls to 1,000 boys. But what is the sex ratio today? It is 1036 girls versus 1,000 boys. I mean, it's a phenomenal, fantastic increase thanks to Prime Minister's emphasis on protect the girl child. And in also education. So he's putting through women through enormous amount of training, teaching. Even as we speak, many women are, being trained to become technicians and, assembly line production, they're being trained, etc. And one very important thing, my friends, with a lot of pride, you can tell everyone when you travel, okay? What is that? In India, our girl students have done so exceedingly well in STEM studies. What are STEM studies? Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So our girl students have done phenomenally well in that STEM studies, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, that India is ahead of United States, India is ahead of UK, India is ahead of France, India is ahead of Germany. Can you imagine a situation like this? So recently I was working with a bunch of people from Germany. And the first thing they said was, ma'am, is there any way that women can come and train our people? I mean, have you ever heard of such a situation where Germany was considered to be the boss of manufacturing? In fact, the world-class manufacturing, everything that came from Japan and Germany, India is doing it phenomenally. So women are leading the race. The second thing, another thing is, Prime Minister thought of something very interesting. India historically had a lot of nutrition problems. People used to be stunted, low growth. I remember, in fact, I myself was very underweight at the time of my marriage. I had very low hemoglobin. So that's a global problem in India. Almost every woman has problems. So Prime Minister thought of something very interesting. It's called National Nutrition Mission and 1,000-day program. So 1,000-day program is when a woman conceives, in her womb itself, they start giving nutritious food, and it continues till the child is 2 years old. Why? Because the brain develops till 2 years. So Prime Minister, thought of this whole, we say it's a life cycle intervention. So that's what he's done. In fact, he's done. I don't have to tell you about the toilets that he built. I don't have to tell you. One thing I'd like to highlight here is Prime Minister has built homes. I remember when I was working in the urban infrastructure area, I addressed several low-cost conferences in Singapore, Malaysia, UK, and I had no statistics and data to tell those countries. They used to ask me, ma'am, you come from India, what have you done? So really nothing at that time. But after Prime Minister took over, he built 4 crores of homes for the underprivileged. Now, why am I talking about homes in the context of women? is because the houses are registered on the woman's name. So when the houses get registered on the woman's name, they discovered that there is a fall in violence, domestic violence. So husbands cannot hit the wife and say, get out of my house. So they're being very cautious. So Prime Minister has done phenomenally well. Now let me come to youth. So here, as you know, that India is the most populous country today. We beat China. And India has average age of 29 years, whereas all the other countries have much, much higher age. And like, for instance, China has the median age of China, I know, is 42 years, but in India, we're 29. So we have enormous amount of opportunity to train youth to ensure that they participate in economic development of the country. So we have 650 million youth. So, you are a part of the whole ecosystem. So what has Prime Minister done? He's done a lot of things. What he's done is he's created ITIs, Industrial Training Institutes. The number is quite mind-boggling. He's created something like 5,000. I think it's 5,000 in 9 years. He's created something very interesting like internship portal. So if you want to do internship on some real life projects and all that, you can get on the portal, register your name. So I saw the latest number, something like 2 crore youth have kind of registered there, and 30 lakhs are working with companies, etc. Then almost 18 to 20 lakh youth are trained in digital technologies. See, today, what are we talking about? We are talking about fourth industrial revolution. So India is now capitalizing on fourth industrial revolution, which is nothing but on digital technologies. Like you have artificial intelligence, machine learning, AR and VR, so virtual reality, all that. So all these are being, they're trained. Boys and girls are being trained. So now I'd like to come to the crux of the matter. So much has been done by the Prime Minister. But to make India into a developed nation, all of us have a role. I have to play my role. You have to play your roles. All of us have a certain role to play. Now, let me tell you why I have confidence that you will play your role well. It's because I have seen young people, increasingly the entrepreneurial age is coming down. At one time, I remember when people used to start their businesses, they used to be in 40s. Now it's come to 20s, even younger. So people are very getting into the business sphere, and not because they're hungry for money. Please pay attention. They're not hungry for money. They are concerned. They are concerned about economy. They're concerned about environment. I'll give an example. I met someone. I was at a startup festival, a very big festival in Amsterdam. And there's this boy who came, and he actually innovated and came out with a water bottle that you can drink water from it. And once you're done drinking, you can eat it. So why is he doing that? And how can you eat a water bottle? So what he's made, that water bottle is made with seaweed. Seaweed is very nutritious, and he also thought that's a good idea to make sure that people consume the water bottle, because otherwise plastic is being thrown, like plastic water bottles are being thrown. So he's a concerned person. And I work with several startups in Singapore, Amsterdam, London, Toronto. So all of them, today I find that the average age of these boys is so less. They are 22, 21, and they're talking about medical devices. So recently there's this boy who called me and said, ma'am, can you help me penetrate the hospital in Hyderabad? I said, what are you doing currently? So he said he came out with a medical device, which basically, he works on it's a wearable, and it alerts doctors whenever the patient is getting into a critical stage of vitals. So the entire, if there's a cardiac problem, it goes to the cardiologist. If it's something to do with renal, it goes to the nephrologist. So beautifully customized. And today, I also met some very young people in India, which is so fascinating. So I'm telling you a very fascinating story. There's this guy who's working on targeted medicine delivery. So if there is cancer, you know that I lost my mother to cancer. She was very young. I lost her to cancer at a very young age. And at that time, cancer, you give cancer treatment, it will not only kill the tumor, it will kill the whole body. You know, the healthy cells also die. But now, the targeted medicine is, supposing you have a tumor, a small tumor on the kidney, it will directly go hit the kidney. And that's it. So our boys are doing such, laser sharp focus on the problems of the country, and they're delivering it. It's just unbelievable what they are doing. There's a whole list that I can speak of. But another thing, concern in terms of how young boys and girls are concerned today, I'll tell you. Once I was going to NIT, National Institute of Technology in Trichy. So I had to give a lecture there. I was going there. So 4 boys came and met me at the airport. They wanted to pick me up. So they were sent by the institution. So they came and picked me up. All of them had very long hair. They had very long hair, and they tied up their hair as ponytails. And when they came to pick up my bag, there's this lady standing next to us, and she said, "See, look at the boys. Nowadays, all boys are, doing all these stupid things. Growing hair and wearing ponytails." And she was like sarcastic and all that. So I didn't say anything because the boys were looking very good. They're looking sophisticated, smart, almost like rock stars. So I got into the car, and out of curiosity, I asked them, is there a code or something, the dress code, like how you have dress code? Do you have a ponytail code? So they said, "No, ma'am, we are growing hair because we want to give to cancer patients. And the hair cannot be short. It has to be at least this long, a foot long or more, then we can contribute." See how the youngsters are thinking today. I'm telling you, the kind of concern today I see in youngsters is far, far more than what I saw when I was growing up. We were perhaps not too clued into situations, problem. So today I have a lot of faith in youngsters. And I think Prime Minister also has. So I see a bright future. Now, I'll quickly tell you what you can do as students. Number 1, India is very vulnerable today. Very, very vulnerable. From what side? You would have seen that India is experiencing this concept of deep fakes. Like, they can create. Now I am speaking to you, right? Someone can hack the system and they can make Karuna look like someone abusing the country. It is a deep fake. I am actually praising the country, but a tech smart guy can come mess it up so badly that it looks like Karuna is tarnishing the country's image. So that can be done. So a lot is happening. People like you should be aware. Youngsters have to be aware. If you are not tech trained, be aware at least and inform the government. Whenever you see something suspicious, inform the government, make a note, become active on social media. Please highlight these. That is the best thing that you can do for the country currently. The second thing is, my friends, India is today a victim of cybercrime. India is a 100% victim of cybercrime. There are brilliant people sitting in different parts of the world trying to attack India and India's systems. I have seen recently that AIMS, All India Institute of Medical Science website was hacked, and the entire the database was taken away and all that. So it's actually a very grave problem, because data privacy is what keeps you alive. And when that is gone, it's gone. So cybercrime has gone phenomenally high. In fact, today a paper, if you open, they say that India is the first victim. And in Telangana, it is so common in Hyderabad. Recently, a man was defrauded, just yesterday, I think, was defrauded for 5 crores. In a matter of some 30 minutes, they just faked something and got it. So cybercrime is very, very rampant. Women are being victimized, girls are being victimized. Your data is lost, your institution's data may be lost. Be very aware. And if possible, train yourselves in cybersecurity. take up a course. Take up a course. There's nothing wrong. I mean, they'll tell you what could be, what are the ways to protect yourself from any of these intrusions. What kind of firewalls you have to build, etc. So be a little aware of that. And the third thing that you can do is, please, if you love India, if you're patriotic, if you think India is a great place, which it is, stop the brain drain. Influence your friends and fraternity. Tell them that there's no other place other than India. For the simple reason that I know that I have seen many countries, almost 14 countries I have seen and almost partially worked there. And I know how good India is, how our rich culture can, really uplift a person. That's no wonder you have Satyanarayan and all these people going from here and becoming big people there. So stop brain drain if you can. And in case you can't help but leave the country for whatever reason, you're going away but become good ambassadors of the country. Even if you are forced to leave, like, you're going for your PhD or you're taking up a job somewhere or you're on a stint, like for instance, all our multinationals have people working in other countries, become a good ambassador of the country, become polite, be educated about what is India. With pride, you can say that India is not an emerging nation. India is a re-emerging nation. Do you know that India is a re-emerging nation? Yes, today everybody says India is an emerging nation. No, my friends. India is a re-emerging nation. Why? Because before, centuries back, before the Mughals attacked our country and before the British plundered our country, India was number one in the trade. Almost 50% of the world's trade was in India's hands. India used to export everything, right from fabric to minerals, to spices, to gemstones, to everything. You can see there was a speech by Shashi Tharoor and how beautifully he explained what India was and how we were plundered. So India emerged then. We are not emerging now. We are re-emerging now. So kindly have the pride in telling people that, we are re-emerging. Then try to become entrepreneurs. Though age is not, don't wait to be 40, 50 to become entrepreneurs. Today, I see the average age is so less. All of you can start becoming. I know I have seen the ecosystems in other countries. For instance, Ireland has fantastic business ecosystem. All young people directly from educational institutions, interact with the industry bodies and get to understand where the opportunities are. You don't have to really become big to start your enterprises. So I remember when, we were talking about setting up startups. At that time, there was no one actually. Only after Modi ji came, now we have something like 1 lakh startups. So do that. The other thing that you can do also is kindly think of a fellowship kindly innovate, think of a fellowship for India. I'll tell you what it is. See, I have gone on fellowships to America. So when I go from India on a America-sponsored fellowship, they'll show you America in a very beautiful light. They'll take you to federal departments, they take you to Washington, they take you to Seattle, show you the best parts of America. And I went on fellowships to UK. So I have seen so many countries on fellowships. But now in India, we don't have great fellowships that pull people from other countries to showcase India. Let them come and see how Lijjat Papad was made. Lijjat Papad was made by a Gujarati woman back in 1950. Maybe none of us was born at that time. And she made it, her investment was 80 rupees with 7 friends. Today, the company is valued at 1,600 crores. So the point is, India has phenomenal stories to share. So do that. And the last point, my friends, to take India forward, I think you should respect seniors. Don't ever think life is, we are young, we will lead the country and all that. Respect the seniors, because you may have information today with, at the tip of a fingertip you can get information. You may have information, you may have knowledge, but you don't have the wisdom. So depend on seniors. And to tell you this, I want to give you one anecdote and I'll close it. The anecdote is very simple. I went to visit a friend of mine. And so my friend and her husband were talking to me. And her young son came. He sat and started participating in the discussion. So we were talking for a while. So my friend's husband got a call from his vice president. He picks up the call and this boy heard the conversation. So the call is the father was telling the vice president, go for American satellites, go for European satellites. So then that man said something, but he said, no, let's stick to European satellites, because this person is actually working in a farming space where they identify the stress of farmlands. Like, using satellite data, they identify if the farm is infested with pests or it is going through some difficult times, there's dry area, whatever. So they identify. So they had a client in Europe. So this man was speaking on phone and he said, go for European satellites. So the boy suddenly gets up and he says, no, Dad, let him go for American satellites, because you know that European satellites are not good. They don't have granularity. America is the best. And he's arguing. So father closes the phone like this, listens to the whole argument, goes back to the phone and tells his vice president, please go with the European satellites. So the son is shocked. He says, Dad, we know that both you and I know that American satellites have the best technology and they are not a patch on. They are so brilliant and Europe is not good. The father says, son, in business, understand, look at the wisdom of the man. So that's why I'm saying respect seniors. He says, I have the European client. And in our proposal, if we say we are using an American satellite, they won't like it. So we will say European satellite. When the results are not really good, he himself will see. And at that time, when we suggest an American satellite, they will accept. So this is the wisdom of a businessman. So I'm saying that youngsters may have enormous information, enormous knowledge, but wisdom comes from experience and practice. So respect seniors. Today, our government also have written an article. Kindly, if you have time, please go to my website, karunagopal.com. I've written a number of articles on, on all these topics, like, how to attract investments in the country, what are the role of the youth, especially on senior citizens. I said, catch them old. Because how did Japan become so strong in its life? Because Shinzo Abe, the premier, has deployed people at all stages, at all ages. Like, he never thought an 85-year-old man is useless. He put him to work. So that is how a country has to utilize. So our gig economy that we call prime ministers helping us in will certainly be so valuable. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for your time. And I hope you will give your contributions and you'll contribute to this great nation called Bharat. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Karuna. Thank you very much. And it is a free flow and logical with excellent background discussion for the topic. And you have also raised what are the challenges that are there before us and what opportunities that are available. And you have also raised few suggestions and opportunities for the participants and the people in general, and what role we have to play in building the nation to become the developed nation by 2047. But I say, if this type of spirit is there, why we have to wait 2047?
Yes.
Why can't it be by 2037? Actually, so that I always feel that whatever the development which we wish, we can see in our own generation.
Yes.
We can see in this world in front of us, actually.
Right.
That is the spirit that you have raised. So thank you very much. And before I close, there are a few questions actually, only two questions actually. These two questions also, the answer is there in your talk actually. How can the country's agility be enhanced? Samarpit Rai said that how to enhance the zeal of the people in the country is one important issue Samarpit Rai is raised actually. And second one is that how to promote Viksit Bharath from the government side in academic institutions like in colleges and universities. Because it is certainly a big question and a good question too, that we have to take some steps. It's not just some prime minister has to say something and people like you or us say that India should become like this, but it should become a mass movement actually. To become mass movement, more so in the colleges and other educational institutions, what support government in general, public in particular, can be done?
Okay. Can I answer?
These are the two things that we have in the website actually. And excellent thanks are there to you for from most of the people who are attending this session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So can I answer the last question first?
Please.
So this Viksit Bharath, Professor, is actually there is a big plan to penetrate into every university, and that is being spearheaded, and the nodal agency is the University Grants Commission. And every university is requested to create a small team of people, and that team will invite speakers like me in different colleges. And once we go give a speech, then we have something called, which I will request your audience also to do. There's something called Namo app, Narendra Modi app. In that, there is a section called Viksit Bharath, where you become an ambassador of Viksit Bharath. So all the students and faculty members I will send the link, and I will send the link. They will have to download the app. That's all. I will send the link. They will have to just quickly go there, fill their details, and give one idea for India. It can be anything. In fact, in one educational institution, when I spoke, there is this girl who got a prize. I mean, I myself took a pearl necklace and gave it to her. The ideas were brilliant. And you know what she said? She said, ma'am, I know India will progress if our ancient medical system is revived. And she did not say just in the air. She has published a peer-reviewed article on Bhasma. You know, you have Vibhudi, the Bhasma, that works as a nanoparticle for treatment. See, today medicine is about nanoparticles. As I said, targeted medicine is nanomedicine. So she says a Bhasma in those days is actually nanomedicine, she says, and she has a peer-reviewed article. It's amazing. So your students and faculty can go to download the Namo app and start giving their suggestions, and Prime Minister will actually see them for the simple reason that he's announced a cash prize of 5 lakhs. And whoever gives the best idea for the India, number one, and also engaging everyone. So maybe I will send the link to you, sir, and you can give it to your faculty members, and everyone can give an idea. It can be anything. So they will be engaged. They'll be engaged in the discussion. They'll see others, ideas, and, the world will get better. The second, the first question you asked about how to make India agile. Agile. It's an esoteric answer that I'll give, not the real. I'll just explain it to you. I've always felt that when you walk, you are moving forward in life. Those people who are agile and move forward, who actually walk, are walking to the future. So typically what happens is when you start moving, then you move in more ways than one. So there is this, I've done a research on performing cities. How can cities perform? Then we discovered if a person's BMI, like biomass index, we say, if a body, fat and muscle and weight, biomass index is 25, he'll be the fittest person. So I was discussing with Pulela Gopichen, who's into sport, saying that how can we make everyone fit? Because the minute they are fit, they will work. And when they work, the country moves. So it's all about, again, coming back to the first point on health. So the economy will move if we become fit and we keep moving forward. And technically, when you move forward, you take the country also forward. That's why, there are many reasons why you have to be physically and emotionally fit for the country to move forward. And of course, all these, discussions and lectures, etc.
So time is running out. So I am very, very happy to see the mesmerizing talk or mesmerizing presentation, I can say, that the lucidity of your talk, the number of cases while presenting your talk, you referred number of cases as references. Those things will really help our participants to take some clues from there and try to become the ambassadors of the nation. And the very, very important point, in addition to the background and where were some 10 years back, where are we now, and where we want to go. And this type of logical sequences definitely help our people to think how fast and how quickly we can move forward into the future so that we can make our country a developed country and hand over this excellent country to our next generation who can enjoy the benefits of our efforts and our challenges. And I'm very happy that you have mentioned two important things. That is, what role the youth and academia has to play, because the vulnerabilities and deep fakes, victims of cyber crimes, and also brain drain. These are the four important challenges that you have raised. Actually, they are the real challenges, and you have represented the Indian society significantly. And you also gave a call to the people to try to address these issues by finding some positive solutions, maybe by getting trained in these areas, how to tackle these particular issues, and also how to become brand ambassadors of this particular country, even if they go out of the country and play some significant role. And the important issue, the Indian culture has taught us respect the elders and respect the others. And though we missed this particular thing during the last maybe one generation, and I'm sure that your appeal will definitely make the younger generation to be more responsible in respecting the elders and take care of our seniors. And above all, becoming entrepreneurs. See, creating the jobs is more important than doing the job. And this is the mission, the noble mission of many of us. And in fact, I also started a website in promoting entrepreneurship by telling the small stories about the successful entrepreneurs in different formal and informal sectors. But all said and done, one thing still it is lingering in my mind, that is that though once upon a time we were importing, now we are manufacturing. But what is need of the hour is that we have to manufacture the goods and services, but based on the innovations that we do it. Actually, that is very, very important. And your call that give ideas for the country is definitely is going to play the more important role and really innovate to inventions and innovations will take place in the country. Soon we can see the brighter side of this particular country, and everybody will enjoy the fruits of this particular effort of the present, maybe present government, present people, the policymakers, and the promoters like you. And with these words, I once again sincerely thank on behalf of Association of Indian Management Schools for accepting our invitation and with us. And I'm sure that in the days to come, please be with us. And we are also with you and the bigger lot, including the Prime Minister, in making this country a bright future. And I also thank all the participants. The first time I'm saying that all 100 participants are there in this particular session live, and hundreds of people are there in the YouTube. They are continuously watching what is happening in this particular session. That is how the session is so effective. Thank you very much for your presence, and also thank the participants. And I sincerely thank the technical staff who supported from the AIMS Pune office as well as Hyderabad office, and also from Coimbatore for their technical support in making this particular session very, very memorable. Thank you very much. I'll meet
Thank
again
you.
soon
Namaste.
as early as possible. Thank you very much.
Namaste to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sunil?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.